Casa del Fascio was built between 1932 and 1936 to be the headquarters of the local fascist party. It is located in the north of Italy, in the city of Como, in Piazza del Popolo, number 4, in front of the Como Cathedral. The fascist party asked Terragni for the building to house the new tasks of the political organization, as well as to testify the greatness of the Duke and the movement. The building was renamed Casa del Popolo after World War II, and every fascist decoration, originally made by Mario Radice, was steered, and since then the building has changed functions from civic agencies, carabinieri station, and even a tax office. The Italian rationalism was developed along with the modern movement, and this current architecture followed the principles of functionalism. The style is inspired on the principles of Roman architecture, without the ornamental associated with the neoclassicism. Italian architects were searching for an identity, and some of these characteristics were defined by the fascist government of the time, mainly embracing aspects from the futurism, like the long horizontal lines and streamlined shapes, that inspired speed and dynamism. Architettura Razionale flourished in Italy thanks to a group of young architects, Gruppo Zete, pretending to balance the excesses of the neoclassicism and combining it with the sterility of futurism, including logic, order, proportions, and sincerity, recalling the ideas of Le Corbusier. But not only they wanted to include these principles, but also to use the classical expression of proportion. Their manifesto motto was, "We must bring Europe in Italy, and Italy in Europe." The form of the building can be understood as a half cube occupying the land in its entirety, with two sides of 33.2 meters each and a height of 16.6 meters, from which some parts have been extracted, leaving solid volumes, but there is still continuity thanks to the beams and piers that join those volumes, generating a building with fields and voids that respond to the needs of the spaces that this building houses. The structure of Casa Fascio follows the principle of Le Corbusier and the Group 7 Manifesto, which expressed a clear interest in rhythm, rationality, and logic. Therefore, the structure is highly rationalized, since it is made up of 7 frames of reinforced concrete on each facade, that are repeated along the 4 stories of the building and towards the interior of it. It is as if the volume of half a cube is built from smaller cubes, and some of them are solid volumes made up of walls, and others are open spaces in which the concrete piers are visible. The 4 facades of the building are different from each other, as they respond to the internal distribution and the rhythm between open and closed spaces. For example, the main facade is made up of 20 voids, creating a grid, and a blind panel on the right side of it, which is covered in white marble, and it's where the party's propaganda could be hung. The constant use of proportion that is visible in the facades was a ruling element in classic architecture, and the use of marble in the main facade and in some floors as it was used in classic temples. The building is accessed through Piazza del Popolo with a 3-step staircase, a classic resource inspired by the ancient Greek and Roman temples. This staircase leads to a porch, preceding the entrance to a central patio, around which a U-shaped corridor is formed, and where the different rooms and offices were located. This space must have been used for speeches or events for the party members, and if the space was not enough, there was the possibility of removing the entrance doors, merging the piazza and the interior atrium. The atrium is covered with a glass roof at the height of the second floor. The plan, that although it is a new proposal, it takes up many of the principles of the town houses, such as the project of Victor Horta in Brussels, Belgium. In Casa del Fascio, the walls and floors of the building are clad in marble with different treatments, and there is also a vast use of glass, blending the interior with the exterior. On the upper stories, there were other rooms, halls, and offices. On the first floor, for example, is the executive office, where the party representatives met in a room delimited by glass, and therefore visible to all, reinforcing the idea that this space and the entire building was a space for everyone. The main contributions were the formal elements that acted as an organizational 3D grid on the inside, ordering the interior spaces and also the facades, and making the grid noticeable. In addition, the materiality of the place recalled the Roman legacy of innovation. Casa del Fascio's materiality was used with a symbolic role, other than just the functional role. The Ragnes building is a construction that witnessed and represents the architecture as a collaboration between various decorative arts and engaged the urban context along with the modernist international movement, but also with the ideals that have been developed in the late Roman period. It was also a response to the political needs at the time and modeled the new identity on the masses.